At the beginning, I told myself it wasn't going to be an addiction. And then I bought another one. And then I bought another one after that. And now it's kind of starting to look like an addiction.
Who is Nicola Peltz? The actress caught between fame and identity. Nicola Peltz grew up in the spotlight, surrounded by wealth, power, and expectation. But fame doesn't always come with freedom. This video explores her journey from child actress to Hollywood name and the pressure of defining yourself when the world already thinks it knows who you are. Nicola isn't just an actress. She's a public figure, navigating ambition, scrutiny, and constant comparison. This video dives into her early roles, her rise in film and television, and the challenges of carving out a personal identity in an industry that never stops watching. What does it mean to chase credibility when privilege follows your name? How do you prove yourself when people assume your path was handed to you? And can talent ever fully escape the shadow of background and status? From major franchises to indie projects, Nicola's career reflects a desire to be taken seriously on her own terms. Is she still finding her voice, or quietly building a career away from expectations? Today, we explore the story, struggle, and evolution of Nicola Peltz, the actress learning how to stand on her own in a world that never stops judging.
Theater acting. Acting will always be my first love. I've done it since I was 12. It's always my heart, but I love directing so much. It's so different, and I hope I get to continue if I'm lucky enough and do both. Yeah.
Welcome to Who Media, the channel where curiosity leads the way. From famous celebs and cartoon icons to legends and hidden names, we uncover the stories behind the people you know and the ones you don't. Nicola Peltz is often introduced with labels before her story is ever told: actress, model, heiress, celebrity wife, public figure. But what happens when you strip away the shortcuts people use to define someone? What's left when you look beyond the headlines and the assumptions? What remains is a woman navigating visibility, expectation, pressure, and self-definition in a world that is always watching. And in that journey lies inspiration, not the loud kind, but the quiet, disciplined, deeply human kind. Nicola Peltz was born into a life most people imagine as effortless. Wealth, access, opportunity, all things the world assumes guarantee success. But here's the uncomfortable truth people rarely want to admit. Privilege does not remove pressure. It multiplies it. When expectations are high before you've even taken your first step, failure isn't private, it's public. From the beginning, Nicola's life unfolded under a microscope, and every move she made was judged not just on its own merit, but against assumptions about what she should be. As a child, Nicola was drawn to performance. Acting wasn't a hobby, it was a calling. She pursued it seriously, training, auditioning, working to prove that her passion wasn't borrowed or inherited, but earned. Can you imagine trying to prove your authenticity when people assume your success was handed to you? How hard would you have to work just to be taken seriously? Her early acting roles didn't come with instant validation. There were auditions she didn't get, roles that didn't land, moments of rejection that never make headlines. And yet, she persisted. She showed up. She learned. She stayed committed to the craft, even when the industry seemed more interested in her last name than her talent. Isn't it ironic how people say, "You're lucky," without seeing the years of discipline behind the scenes? Nicola's breakout role came with the television series Bates Motel, where she played Bradley Martin. It wasn't just a stepping stone, it was a proving ground. The role required emotional depth, vulnerability, and restraint, and she delivered. For the first time, audiences saw not just a social figure, but an actress capable of holding space in a serious narrative. Isn't that moment, when someone finally sees you for who you are, rather than who they assumed, one of the most validating experiences in life? From there, Nicola stepped into film, including high-profile projects that placed her directly in the line of public scrutiny. With visibility came criticism, some fair, some lazy, some rooted more in perception than reality. And that's where Nicola's story becomes deeply relatable. Because who hasn't been misunderstood? Who hasn't been reduced to a single version of themselves that doesn't capture the full picture? The entertainment industry is not kind to women, especially women who don't fit neatly into one box. Nicola has had to navigate an environment where beauty can be both currency and a curse, where confidence is praised until it threatens others, where self-expression is encouraged only when it aligns with expectations. How do you stay grounded when the world constantly tries to tell you who you are? Rather than folding under that pressure, Nicola leaned inward. She began prioritizing authenticity over approval. She chose roles and creative paths that aligned with her values, not just public expectation. She explored fashion as self-expression, not performance. She embraced her voice, her boundaries, and her evolving sense of self. Isn't that the real challenge of adulthood? Learning when to listen and when to ignore the noise? Her relationship with Brooklyn Beckham only intensified public attention. Suddenly, Nicola wasn't just an actress. She was a headline. Every outfit, every expression, every silence was analyzed. And yet, instead of shrinking, she stood firm. She spoke openly about partnership, respect, and building a relationship rooted in mutual support rather than image. How many people have the courage to define love on their own terms while the world is watching? Marriage didn't dim her independence, it sharpened it. Nicola has been clear about the importance of partnership without erasure. She remains committed to her work, her growth, and her identity. That's not always easy in a culture that expects women to soften or disappear into relationships. How powerful is it to say, I can love deeply and still be myself? But perhaps the most inspirational aspect of Nicola Peltz's journey isn't her career or her visibility, it's her resilience in the face of judgment. The internet can be brutal, and public figures often absorb criticism most people never have to endure. Nicola has spoken about mental health, self-protection, and learning when to step back. She understands that strength doesn't always look like pushing through. Sometimes it looks like pausing, recalibrating, and choosing peace. In a world that celebrates constant productivity, isn't it revolutionary to value balance? To say no? To protect your inner life as fiercely as your career? Nicola has also used her platform to advocate for causes she believes in, including animal rights and compassion-driven initiatives. She doesn't chase performative activism. She supports quietly, consistently, intentionally. And that's an important reminder. Impact doesn't always need applause. Sometimes the most meaningful contributions happen without an audience. Her evolution as a person mirrors something many people experience privately but rarely articulate: the shift from proving yourself to understanding yourself. Early in life, we chase validation. Later, we chase alignment. Nicola's journey reflects that transition. She no longer seems interested in convincing the world of her worth. She's focused on living it. Isn't that the ultimate form of confidence? What's inspiring about Nicola Peltz is not that she has access, it's that she chooses agency. She could live comfortably without risk, without challenge, without exposure. And yet, she continues to pursue growth, creativity, and self-definition. That's not entitlement, that's intention. Her story reminds us that identity is not static. You are allowed to evolve. You are allowed to outgrow old versions of yourself. You are allowed to step away from expectations that don't serve you. And you are allowed to define success on your own terms, even if it looks different from what others imagined for you. So ask yourself, how often do you let other people's assumptions dictate your choices? How many versions of yourself have you abandoned just to make others comfortable? And what would happen if you chose, like Nicola, to live deliberately instead of defensively? Nicola Peltz represents a generation learning to balance visibility with boundaries, ambition with authenticity, success with self-respect. She isn't perfect, and that's exactly the point. Her inspiration lies not in flawlessness, but in perseverance, in showing up, in learning publicly, in choosing growth over approval. Her life challenges the idea that privilege erases struggle. It reminds us that pressure wears many faces, and resilience isn't exclusive to hardship. It's forged in expectation, scrutiny, and self-discovery too. Isn't it time we broaden our understanding of what strength looks like? At the core of Nicola Peltz's journey is a quiet but powerful message. You don't need to be louder to be stronger. You don't need to be harder to be resilient. And you don't need to be understood by everyone to live truthfully. She is still evolving, still learning, still writing her story. And maybe that's what makes her inspirational. Not the destination, but the commitment to the journey. So the question remains, If Nicola Peltz can carve out authenticity in a world that constantly tries to define her, what's stopping you from doing the same? If she can protect her inner life while living in the public eye, what excuses are left for shrinking in private? The world will always have opinions. Expectations will always exist. But at the end of the day, the only life you are responsible for living is your own. And Nicola Peltz's story is a reminder that living it with intention, courage, and self-respect is its own kind of success.
My love language, Brooklyn. What's my top 3?
Your top 3? Well, I know your top 1, it's rubbing the feet.
That's not a love language.
Yes, that is.
No, it's like physical touch,
Yes, it
gifts,
is.
acts of service. What are the other ones?
All of those things, yeah.
Well, I think yours is words of affirmation and physical touch. I like a gift also. It doesn't have to be expensive, but I like a thoughtful gift. I also like, I like them all. Yeah, I like them all.
Thanks for watching Who Media. We hope you had fun learning something new today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you never miss a story. Want to see more cool videos? Head over to our channel and start exploring.